It's One Punch Man Wednesday, my beautiful baldies, and we're back with One Punch Man chapter 176 titled Epicenter, as we're going into this mini psychic arc. We get some backstory on Fubuki and Psykos, we get an image of God, and how this is all tied into the third eye and the Tsukuyomi, and a psychic battle breaks out. Now before I jump into the chapter review, yesterday I released a big video titled The Final Boss of One Punch Man Season 3. I worked extremely hard on it for like 3 days, and YouTube even confirmed that they suppressed it. It's just not showing up on my channel. So if you guys missed that video, please go check it out. It's one of my best videos this year. The chapter opens up with a flashback of Fubuki and Psykos. We're starting to learn their relationship when they were teenagers. Within the first couple pages, we get introduced to a brand new Esper group that's not the Tsukuyomi. It's called the Invisible Hand, a group of Espers from the next town over who want to shut down the Society of Supernatural Research, which is what Psykos is a part of, and I guess Fubuki is too. This is gonna be like a little psychic arc coming up. I don't think it's gonna be like too long, but it's gonna obviously give us more information about God. It already did this chapter, and we'll get into that a little bit as well. But what I'm wondering is this Esper group gonna come out and fight? Maybe we'll get some more trials and tribulations for Fubuki coming up in Tatsumaki. Now, Psycho says that the Invisible Hand offered to become their subsidiary, and I think that this is due to their powers increasing as their schoolgirls. I'm not sure if the Invisible Hand will come back later, but potentially. Maybe they're just trying to show here that these girls are just getting incredibly powerful, in particular Fubuki, as Psycho says that she's strong enough to lift an entire 18-wheel truck, whereas Psykos at this point can only lift a mere human. And Psycho says that she's researching a new ability called the Third Eye, which allows you to see in the future. And just like we analyzed from the last chapter review, this is pretty much what Shibabawa had. The old lady that gave the 6-month prophecy that God is coming, or a God-level threat, which we know is God. I mean, it's gotta be. Fubuki called Psykos the former vice president of the Third Eye, and then she called Fubuki the president in this chapter, but it doesn't appear that Fubuki was part of the Third Eye. So is there a president of the Third Eye, or was that drop in the last chapter just for simply referring to Fubuki? So in studying the Third Eye and looking into the future, at least attempting to, Psykos begins to go mad. Very interesting panel here from Murata. Just a bunch of scratches on the page saying this is the future, but why is it so powerful? I guess it's showing that it's scrambled, it's dangerous, it's not something pleasant, and it's driving Psykos mad. She's got veins popping out of her head and everything, and it drives Psykos to create this exterminate all humanity plan. So it appears that Psykos like accidentally tapped into the power of God, and in doing so, it drove her crazy, gave her a power up. I mean, I don't think she's an avatar, but by looking into the future with the Third Eye and seeing God there, it like messed her up and began her on this journey of essentially becoming evil. And now we return back to the flashback of after the Saitama vs. Garo fight, as Fubuki is fighting against a weakened Psykos, and Fubuki's like really messing her up with her psychic powers, saying, "What did you see in the future?" Quick note, in the battle in the webcomic between Fubuki and Psykos, Fubuki got a massive power up, but she didn't get it here. So potentially she gets that in the next chapter. And she kind of like grazes Psykos' face, or like puts her finger on her face, giving her a glimpse, an image of what Psykos has been seeing. And we get this insane, ominous picture here of God coming out of the clouds, looming down on Fubuki. And this picture is so powerful. I mean, just a glimpse of what Psykos saw, and Fubuki is scared shitless. She can feel the power of God in the future. So we know that God is a being that can cross the vast expanse of time, but needs some sort of sacrifice, right? We remember that from the mural from the Saitama vs. Orochi redraw. And yeah, it appears that he really is like some 4th or 5th dimensional being that, you know, spans across space and time. And while there obviously is one here, like in present day, locked up, which we saw, you know, from the chapter when Saitama picked up the black cube, there's either another one in the future, maybe the one in the future is the one that broke free, maybe that's the one that appears on the moon. So when I made a video talking about the theory that there's 2 gods in One Punch Man, there very well may be one locked up inside the moon or something right now, and one in the future, which is able to communicate with the past. Lots of speculations we can make on this, but being able to see in the future means you're able to see that God is coming, essentially, and potentially be influenced by him as well. That's the main takeaway from this chapter. That's when Saitama and Fubuki arrive at Psychos' chamber, and there they're gonna meet the Tsukuyomi and the new Esper guy that has come out that is very powerful. And Psychos lets them know, like, hey, you guys better scram because the Hero Association just added that Psychos is being incarcerated, she's not dead, and as soon as my sister finds out, she's gonna come and raise hell. And sure enough, she does. Tatsumaki's gonna burst through the ceiling, and now we have a standoff between 3 Espers. Fubuki doesn't want to kill Psychos, she just wants to, like, I guess get more information about what Psychos saw in the future, more information about God, essentially. And I was also talking about this in my previous chapter reviews. I really like this mini arc, not because of the action, but because this third eye and Tsukuyomi are going to continually give us more and more drops and information about God. Almost every chapter now, we're getting a picture of God and some tidbit of extra information, putting the links together. And I love this. This is beautiful writing, in my opinion. Tatsumaki attempts to just straight up kill Psychos, and the other 2 psychics, Fubuki and the Tsukuyomi dude, like try and protect her, so Tatsumaki just blows the new guy away. And we get another confirmation here as Fubuki has a flashback about the Tsukuyomi, which we correctly predicted was the research facility that Tatsumaki was being held in when Blast arrived. And 2 unique things are happening here in this flashback. For one, Tatsumaki is saying, help me with an act. We're gonna act like we're trying to kill Psychos, but ideally we really just want to rescue her because nobody should have to go to the Tsukuyomi psychic torture facility. And number 2, while Tatsumaki is holding a knife and fork, she just eats spaghetti using her psychic powers. And as we can easily correlate, this Tsukuyomi Esper clan or cult is attempting to do experiments on psychics and Espers because they're probably trying to contact God. They either want God's power or they worship him. Potentially they go back thousands of years and were the ones who created the mural on the wall where Saitama fought Orochi. And so they don't have the third eye, but they want it. And that's why they're kind of attacking now. So this Tsukuyomi villain is able to survive Tatsumaki's attack by encasing himself in this sort of psychic barrier, to which Tatsumaki tells us that he's an artificial psychic. So I guess the Tsukuyomi clan is also trying to create artificial psychics, probably because psychics can access the third eye and they want the third eye to communicate with God. So they've been not only like torturing, experimenting on psychics, but trying to create their own as well. They really want to communicate with God. Now it appears that Fubuki is onto Saitama and she knows his secret, saying that he ascended. She thinks that Saitama's the one that defeated Garo, someone who had reached the peak and ascended. Having taken him down, you're probably someone who has ascended as well. And Saitama again here confirms that he doesn't remember anything about the Garo fight. And yeah, as we get later and later in the story, more and more heroes and people find out Saitama's secret and the fact that he has defeated Garo and he's basically like just been saving the world over and over this whole time. Or at least they like feel it or theorize it. It's like all these signs point to yes, but like, I don't know, they can't really like 100% confirm it yet. You take a look at people like Amai Mask and Fubuki now, it's like they have a feeling, but it's not like King who like knows that Saitama is the one saving everybody 100%. But they'll get there. I mean, the cast of One Punch Man is slowly coming to the term that, look, Saitama is the real hero of the story. Tatsumaki and the Tsukuyomi villain are clashing their psychic abilities together, which creates a crack in the floor, and we get this absolutely hysterical 2-panel image of Saitama just slowly falling down into this gaping chasm of abyss. And the final page here is of Saitama being down on the demon level monster containment floor. So he's surrounded by monsters, and Saitama says they're keeping monster as pets in the middle of the Hero Association. Like, what the heck is this? And so we know from the webcomic, minor spoilers here, that this is, I believe this is actually because of Metal Knight. He's keeping these monsters down here so he can like test out his creations or unleash them upon the world at certain times, so the Hero Association always has work to do. I'd seriously doubt Saitama is going to convey all this information and it's going to become a big deal yet. It may later down in the road, but this is showing you that there is something shady going on, obviously, with the Hero Association. I think more so anything, this is Metal Knight, but there could be some executives in the Hero Association that are like worried that, you know, if people stop getting attacked by monsters, they'll go out of business. So they just slowly release super powerful monsters over and over again, and then gaze it as, oh, monsters are increasing, so this is, you know, the god level threat. I don't know, we'll find out more, but this is pretty interesting stuff. Turns out a lot of our predictions from the last chapter came true. Always nice to get more pictures of God. Always nice to see more Fubuki. And I believe the next chapter, you know, we're gonna have a 3-way psychic battle now between Fubuki, Tatsumaki, and this new Tsukuyomi character who will probably die very quickly to Tatsumaki. I seriously doubt that he can actually fight Tatsumaki, but I guess we'll see. I mean, Fubuki acknowledged his strength in this chapter. He seems to be pretty strong, but I think Tatsumaki is just gonna, like, delete him. And unfortunately, Saitama won't be there to stop them or anything because he's going to be fighting demon level monsters. This will be the last chapter of the year. And I believe, very early January, within the first week of January, we'll get a new chapter. So happy holidays, everyone. And I'll see you guys for the next One Punch Man review.